Welcome to Revival Town Podcast. I'm Chuck Tate. That's Andy King.
Hey, mate.
Hey.
You all right?
I'm good.
You sure?
Yes.
Good.
Yeah,
You look good.
How are you?
Look good. Yeah, good.
Man,
good.
proud dad.
Oh, I know. Always a proud dad. Always a proud dad.
Yeah.
Got 3 great kids,
but this is epic. This is actually pretty big.
Yeah. This is. So as you know, both my boys are musicians.
Yep.
Over years, you've seen them play.
Yep.
Played with Martin Smith and Leland and other guys like that. But Clay is now in LA, and he's connected with a guy who this last year blew up on TikTok.
Okay.
Which then led to him being re-signed from a record company, to where now I think it's over 60 million hits on one song on Spotify alone. Wow. And millions of hits on TikTok. A guy called Sam Austin's. And so Clay has been helping this guy out, met him at the coffee shop, become his guitarist and keyboard sampler type, Ed Sheeran type feel. Think of it that way. And anyway, he done a few big tours, opening up for other acts.
Yeah.
Then went to Europe, did a little bit in Europe. Dublin, did a festival there. Then they got the call to be on main stage at Lollapalooza, which is mind blowing. For those
main
who don't,
stage.
For those who don't know Lollapalooza, now obviously they're early on in the day, right? This isn't the headline bill. Yeah. Headline bill this year was 115,000 people were there, right? So that's how many people go to the night one, right?
Yeah.
But Clay was on early on in the day, a few thousand there. He's sending me pictures
live
on stage.
on Hulu.
Live on Hulu as well. That was something.
That's your boy, and they're playing guitar.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
And the picture he sent me was him overlooking where he's about to play. So no one's in there yet. He was setting up, but then the Chicago skyline, and it's like right downtown.
Man.
So it was a proud moment,
that's cool.
It was good. Ethan and Peyton flew in, and obviously Maddie, Clay's wife, flew in. So they were at Lollapalooza. We didn't go. We were sick. Me and Teresa were sick, but so they're sending us stuff. Ethan's doing a post about his brother, where he had been at Lollapalooza the year or two before, seeing major artists. Just crazy. Yeah, crazy. So it was a proud moment.
That is cool, man.
So it was cool.
Well, we have part 2 of a episode.
Huge.
And today this is fun stuff. Cool stuff. I mean, Chris Atkins has been a filmmaker for 30 years. He has had the opportunity to film all kinds of stuff, but we're going to hear today where he's doing some pirate treasure hunting. This is the real stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned it in the interview, and we talked about it a little bit, but I mean, me and you, we're like Outer Banks fanatics. And if you don't know what Outer Banks is, it's basically a show of these kids looking for treasure. Right? And so that, we were like, oh man. And then it's like Pirates of the Caribbean stuff.
Yeah.
Diving down.
He hits it all.
Oh man. So we wanted to take this. We were on the Zoom call for like an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And we wanted to take that. Last week, obviously, it was a little bit more serious about what's happening in Israel, and he was there when the Hamas stuff happened. But we just kept it rolling. I texted you during the conversation and said, let's get 2 episodes out of this. I don't want to rush Chris. He has got an art here that we want people to hear about.
Yes.
So
music.
And music, yeah.
Yeah, he's doing the Stryper documentary.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. So why don't you sit back, relax, and enjoy this conversation with Chris Atkins.
This podcast is part of the Edify Podcast Network. Edify is a faith-inspiring app that brings together thousands of the best Christian podcasts in one place for your listening enjoyment. Cut through the noise and grow your faith by diving into the world's top Christian podcasts today. Download the Edify app for free from the App Store or Google Play, or by going to edify.app. That's edifi.app.
Why don't we step into your project that you've been working on, and it's completely different from what we've been talking about, right? But why don't we step into this now? You're talking to two guys who are huge into Outer Banks, the whole searching for treasure. Not that we've done it, but searching for treasure. You know, the whole Pirates of the Caribbean. But you literally are chasing that, right? That is another thing that you do. I mean, we talked about what you've been doing in Israel, but this is another side of what you do. Can you just open that world up for us? Because I know there's going to be so many people that are interested in this.
The mystery of the Pirate King's treasure.
Yes, coming soon to a YouTube or network near you. I joke sometimes that I feel a little schizophrenic because I'm doing these projects that are, in some ways, connected through my experience and that kind of stuff, but so different, from biblical archaeology to the horrors of the massacres to Stryper and heavy metal to searching for
Yeah.
some days I wake up and I'm like, who am I today?
You're like my new favorite person. You're like our hero.
Yeah. Yeah, my wife, she might not feel the same way because it depends on how I get up in the morning. Oh, okay, we're talking about persecution today. Oh, we're doing treasures and we're
and then we're rocking out, man.
Yeah. Everything I do is heavy topics, heavy metal. It's the Pirate King, man, I am so excited about this. And one of the reasons why I wanted to do this and why I created the YouTube channel Rec Watch. And for those interested, it's Rec Watch, all one word, Rec Watch TV. Search that on YouTube and you can find it. And that is connected with an online magazine called recwatchmag.com. And that was founded by my very good friend, Dr. Sean Kingsley in the UK. He's a marine archaeologist. And of course, Sean and I are connected by a mutual friend in Israel, a marine archaeologist in Israel named Kurt Reve. And so, again, Israel is kind of central to this. And so Sean created Rec Watch during COVID as a marine archaeologist with, he's got all these connections. He wants to do something interesting. He's keeping himself occupied. He's also an author for people who are watching this. If you can't see this, Sean wrote the book, and I'm holding it up right here, called The Pirate King. And Sean wrote this book, which is why we're going down to Nassau. He also wrote his first fiction novel called Finders Keepers. You can find these books on Amazon.
Wow. And I just subscribed to Rec Watch on YouTube just now.
You did? Oh,
yes.
Nice. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So from that first paid gig that I told you about before, where I went and I'm standing on the deck of a boat, and this guy, Mike Fletcher, who, I don't know if people in America know about it, but certainly in Canada and throughout England and Europe, there's a show back in the early 2000s called The Sea Hunters, and Mike became the lead diver of that series. And Americans probably know the name Clive Cussler. Clive Cussler is a very famous American author who wrote numerous books. And if you've seen the movie Sahara with Matthew McConaughey, that's one of his books.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So Clive Cussler was the founder of the Sea Hunters series, and Mike initially is supposed to be an underwater camera guy for this. While they realized this guy knows how to find shipwrecks, and so he became the lead diver. And I was fortunate enough to be able to work on 4 episodes of that. He's the guy that I filmed diving in Lake Erie, and him and I have been good friends for 30 years now, and he got me diving. And another little shout out, Mike and I were featured a couple of years ago on Lawrence Fishburne's show History's Greatest Mysteries. Wow. When we were down in Turks and Caicos looking for a rumored U-boat down there. It's season 2, episode 3, I think.
Wow.
Of that. But all
right.
Yes. So how this started was Sean and I, he did the magazine, and I contacted him through my Israeli friend, and I said, listen, what if I did the YouTube channel? And he's like, I can't pay you. I'm like, no, I just want to be able to have reasons to dive and to tell shipwreck stories and have fun doing it. And if we can find a way to turn this into something that makes some money, awesome. But I'm doing all this heavy stuff, all of these, humanitarian and documentary stuff. I need a fun outlet, something that's not really connected to religion. And, you're connected to Christianity, you're connected to Israel, and it's just divisive all the way around. But one thing that doesn't seem to divide people is pirates and treasure. Well, I mean, it can later on in a different way, especially if you find something.
Yeah.
But everybody loves adventure. Everybody loves mysteries.
Yeah.
And so this was just supposed to be a fun thing. And so we've been doing Rec Watch for a couple of years. 2 years ago, we were very blessed when the government of Newfoundland, a province in Canada, actually paid our way to go and dive on the Belle Island shipwrecks, these World War II wrecks that were sank by Nazi U-boats, which I had no idea that Nazi U-boats had actually attacked North America.
Wow.
They sank 4 ships in Newfoundland, and we dove on those. And we were able to tell the stories, and that was the goal of Rec Watch, was to be able to actually do dive adventures. So that was the first one that we did. Most of it, we've been telling stories and narrating them and that kind of thing. But the goal has always been from the start to find opportunities to go and actually do real expeditions. And Sean, being a real legit marine archaeologist, he wrote this book, The Pirate King, because he had found a misfiled letter in the Scottish archives connected to Henry Avery. A lot of people would regard Henry Avery as the true original pirate and maybe the only successful pirate. He robbed the Gunsway, an Indian ship headed to England, which was carrying roughly $150 million worth of treasure in today's standards, and he got away with it.
Whoa,
and we do know that he went to Nassau, that he was in Nassau for a while. And we do know that his ship called the Fancy, that he scuttled it, that he sank it in Nassau Harbor. And to our surprise, nobody's ever, at least officially, gone looking for it. And so Sean, with his connections in the Bahamas, he brought on Dr. Michael Pateman, a Bahamian scientist and archaeologist. And Dr. Pateman, with his connections, he was able to get us the first ever permission from the Bahamian government to actually go and look for pirate archaeology underwater and on land. And so this September, we are going down there, and we're going to look for the remains of the Fancy, and not just Henry Avery stuff, but pirate stuff in general from that early 1700 period. Nobody has officially done that. There's been no archaeological surveys or digs. We're the first ever. And so the Guardian newspaper in England did a story on us, and that has kind of blown things up. And so we've been being contacted by production companies, by broadcasters, by agencies, which we're just planning on doing this for YouTube. And we still might just do this for YouTube, but we're also getting a lot of interest from some big players, which I can't really name right now. Right. But yeah, and from corners that we weren't expecting. And so we still don't have the money to do it. We're working on that. We have a crowdfunding site on Indiegogo, and you can search The Pirate King or Rec Watch and find it there. If you'd like to be a part, and we've got some great opportunities for people, and there's cool things at certain levels. What do you call those? Incentives for helping us out. But we're going regardless, whether we get the money or not. We're just going and doing it. It just depends on the level that we can do it. That helps us out. But yeah, we're going to go look for pirates, and we're going to have fun. We're going to be doing an underwater adventure, and you can follow along with us on Rec Watch TV on YouTube. And yeah, it's just cool. And it's kind of a working vacation where I can step away from the heavy stuff of this world and have some fun.
What has it been like? Obviously, you've done a lot of dives. What is some of the most intriguing dives that you have done?
Well, anything shipwreck related is fun. And when we were in Turks and Caicos for History's Greatest Mysteries, that was cool because you're actually looking for something, right? And to do a search. And be looking at a map and then trying to decipher codes and all of this kind of stuff. That is really interesting. I'd say the other interesting dives I've done have been in the Mediterranean. Of course, I keep going back to Israel, but there's a place called Caesarea Maritima, right on the Mediterranean coast of Israel. And Caesarea, at the time of Jesus and time of Paul, you may remember that Paul was held prisoner there, and Herod the Great had built this incredible port city. Well, a lot of that had been knocked over in earthquakes and in wars. And you can dive in Caesarea. For those who like to dive, I'm telling you right now, go to Caesarea and go to their little dive center there and dive among thousands of years of history, seeing blocks from this wall. I remember we came across a marble sarcophagus lying at the bottom there.
Oh,
there's anchors from all different ages. I mean, you're diving through layers and layers of history. And it's a pretty shallow, easy dive. And there it is, just everything toppled over.
Wow.
And connected.
Was that Caesarea Philippi?
No, Caesarea Philippi is inland. It's in the Golan Heights.
Okay.
That was where Peter said to Jesus, you are the Son of Man, and then right afterwards, Jesus rebuked him. Right. So this is Caesarea Maritima.
Okay.
And so it's you don't really read much about it during the Gospels, but if you read the book of Acts, that is where Paul went when he appealed, and he went to Agrippa, King Agrippa, and that's where he was held prisoner. And actually, I think recently they think they've discovered the prison remains of the prison where he was kept. There's a massive hippodrome that's still there. It is a fascinating site. It's well worth going to Israel, even just for that site. And I've spent a lot of time there. I've done the dive around there. It's very cool.
How does that work? Like, you're down there, you feel you've found something. Obviously, you have to leave it there, correct? You can't bring it up, or if you bring something up, do you have to take it somewhere, like an official archaeology type? I mean, how does that all work?
Yeah, like, do you have an eBay?
Yeah, not under my actual name. No, so it depends. It depends on a few things. It depends on who owns the waters that you're diving in. Depends on what it is that you're finding, and whatever the rules are around that kind of stuff, right? Because if you find something off of a pleasure craft that sank within the last 50 years, I don't think anybody really cares, right? In fact, they're probably happy that you're removing some garbage from the sea. And it also depends on where in the world you are. Like, if you go to Israel and you dive on a ship from the 1700s, I don't think they really care, because it's not old enough, right? Wow. But over in North America, then you dive on a ship from the 1700s, and it's like, oh my goodness, this is a treasure, and we got to protect it. So and it also depends on, too, is it a grave site? I dove on World War II wrecks where, these people have died on these ships. And I don't want to give too much away, but my friend Mike Fletcher and I, we did a search in about 4 years ago, and about 200 miles offshore off the coast of Newfoundland, not too far from the Titanic. And we found a World War II wreck that may or may not have some valuables on it. And that's something that we are also trying to work at getting back out to see if we can do something. But if there is something,
are you going super deep when you're doing this?
No, we're using ROVs on that. Now, Mike, being a commercial diver, he is trained and qualified to do a dive, and that, I have to say, is hundreds of feet. And he is certainly capable of doing that. The most I've done is around 130 feet. And typically, like what we do in the Bahamas for this trip is going to be for sure under 100 feet. So pretty sport diver reachable. But yeah.
Any sharks?
Yes, actually, the dive team that we're putting together, the locals have been telling us that there's definitely sharks, and if we dive in the harbor, there's lots of big bull sharks there. Oh. So I've had sharks around me, but never that close or that concentrated. So it's going to be a new experience. I told everybody that maybe we should all wear brown wetsuits so nobody can tell if we're scared when you see a shark coming at you.
Someone told me that's what the French wear in the army. Sorry.
Wow. Yeah, you would know which one I was wearing.
This is so intriguing. Like, you think of wrecks like hundreds and hundreds of feet down, but you're saying like this ship will be 100 feet or less.
Yeah, and when you think of pirate ships, like when we think of Disney, right? We think of Johnny Depp, and we think of the latest Indiana Jones movie where you go down and there's this intact hull of a ship, and we're swimming through that. No, if you're looking at ships, especially in shallow water like that, what we might find is the ribs, right? Like
Okay.
you'll find these beams. It's not gonna look exciting. Or you'll find kind of a ship-shaped debris field with some ballast stones and maybe the cannons and the parts that didn't get knocked away because that shallow hurricanes dredging for the harbor,
Yeah.
fishing nets pull these things apart, and so you'll find a debris field. Like if anybody's familiar with Mel Fisher's Treasures out of Key West, when they found the Etosha and the Margarita, that's those ships. They have what they call the treasure trail because those were, sank in shallower waters, and hurricanes have just spread that debris over a massive area, and so they're still finding treasure. You know, 40 years later, that's just been spread out on the seabed.
Wow. Have you sorry, I know we want to get onto Stryper, but have you got to like a ship though that is fairly intact because it's not as shallow? And what is
The
that
World War
like?
II wrecks.
What's that like swimming through it? I mean, is it eerie type of feel?
Yeah, and to be honest with you, I don't really swim deep into side of ships. You need to be really trained to go into an overhead environment like that.
Okay.
And this is where I tell people I'm a filmmaker first. I'm a filmmaker who dives as opposed to a diver who makes films, right? So
Right.
although I've been diving for quite a number of years, I don't have the experience of say my friend Mike, who does go deep inside of ships, and he's qualified and trained at doing that. And but being around those wrecks, especially the Bell Island wrecks, and you can check out. We have 3 episodes on Wreck Watch TV on YouTube, and you can check those out. And you see these ships where people died. People died, within my grandfather's lifetime during World War II, and you're swimming around these tombs. It's kind of like if you were down at the Pearl Harbor exhibit, knowing that those people, their remains are trapped inside that metal hull, right? And it's kind of funny. It's kind of strange. And you know what? A lot of my career is centered around these horrific disasters. The October 7th one being the most recent and current and fresh, where the people, that kind of stuff. But then if you look at what I've done in archaeology, I had a series called Unearthed, where we're looking for biblical archaeology, and we're following the different groups from like the Jewish revolt, Bar Kokhba's revolt, and stuff like that. And here we're excited digging up the bones of Herod on the Herodian, or looking for that kind of stuff. And you think, wow, that's exciting. It's an adventure. It's a treasure of history, not in value. But why are we finding this stuff? It's because somebody came in and slaughtered a bunch of people, or there was a horrific disaster where there was an earthquake. And now here I'm excited diving on these World War II wrecks where wow, look at these cool ships and look at the guns, and it's beautiful footage, and it's exciting. But then you have to take a moment and realize this is here because these people were killed.
Yeah.
They were killed by Nazis in a U-boat, and they're trapped inside. Their bodies are still, the remains of them, if there's anything that the fish didn't eat, is potentially still there. And I mean, even these pirates. Now, the Fancy from Henry Avery, that's a different story because he scuttled the ship. There's no deaths on that ship. However, that ship was used to rape, murder, and pillage. And so that ship was a transportation vehicle for these guys who did horrific things. And if you know the story of Henry Avery and what is reported that he did to the passengers of the Gunsway, I mean, there's not really any difference between them and Hamas. But I think history really changes our perspective. And if people have been, if tragedies have been, in the past long enough, they're no longer sad. They're now exciting, which is kind of strange. But you have to think that I had an archaeologist say this to me once, that we benefit really from destruction, in the sense that what we know about history and archaeology, the stuff that was good and survived and wasn't destroyed in some sort of catastrophe, we don't know about, because it's not buried under rubble and layers of ash and soot. what we know about history comes from some of the most horrendous things that have happened in human history. Pompeii, the volcano erupting. The Babylonian expulsion of Judea. The silver scrolls that were found amongst the bones of some Judean soldiers that were killed with the Babylonian arrowheads embedded in their bones that they found at Katif Hanom, just outside of Jerusalem. We know what we know about history comes from these tragedies, which is I don't even really know how to resolve that in my mind. I just know that it's true.
Wow. Man, my mind is blown. This has been so good, but we cannot end this podcast without talking about the Stryper documentary. But first, how did you end up doing it?
Well, again, this is where, so people listen to the first part. I became a Christian because of Stryper, right? Stryper was my window and what connected me to church and to God and got me thinking about all of that and about eternity first. It was the band that really put me on the path that I'm on now, and that which put me in a church, which connected me and took me to Israel. And of course, I'm in Israel a lot, and it was a connection. Joe Amaral, a good friend who was the first person actually brought me to Israel to do his TV show, First Century Foundations. And I got a text message from Joe one day saying, "Hey, would you ever be interested in working with Stryper?" Like, dude, like. You have to ask. And Joe and I have become friends with Stryper's publicist, Brian Mays, because I did a music video for one of his things. And through that connection, Joe and I did a documentary called Hijacking the Holy Land, which I believe you can find on Rumble and YouTube. And Brian had represented that. And through that connection, Joe ended up meeting Stryper, and he's become really close with the band members. He hosts Bible studies with them online. So if you're a Stryper fan, you probably have heard the name Joe Amaral. And Joe and I have been friends for decades. And Joe happened to be talking with the band's management, and they were planning a Stryper Israel tour, not a tour where they'd be playing, but where you'd get on a bus and you could see the Holy Land and experience it with the guys from Stryper. Of course, before October 7th. And so Joe was helping them plan that. And through that period, I guess the band's management said to Joe, "You wouldn't happen to know a filmmaker, would you?" And he's like, "Oh, you got to talk to my friend Chris." And so they looked me up, and then Dave and Lisa, they reached out, and I had a number of Zoom calls with them. And eventually they're like, "We'd like to bring Michael on a Zoom call." I'm like, "Oh man, I've met him backstage at shows before, but Mike and Sweet are going to have a conversation now. Like this is crazy." And so Michael comes on, and we had a series of Zoom calls, and then eventually I got a text message from Dave one day saying, "You're the guy." Wow. What does that mean? I don't know what that means. And so I went down to the studio with them when they were recording their latest album, When We Were Kings, and I was there for the first week or so.
And weren't they going to change it to When We Were Pirate Kings?
Yes, well, I'm still. I think there's time. We're gonna convince them to do that. I mean, Michael did wear an eye patch for a while.
That's right. And he texted you to make sure you were okay on October 7th, right? You said that
not on October 7th, in April.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So just a quick side note, I was in Israel during the first Iranian attack, which was April 13th, 2024, and woke up. I was in the bomb shelter with bombs literally exploded. The building was shaking, and I don't get a text message from my wife. I don't get a text message from anybody else. I get a text message from Michael Sweet. "Hey, brother, I'm watching the news right now. I know you're over there. I hope you're safe. Praying for you." I'm like, it's like 15-year-old me is like forgetting about the bombs. He knows who I am. Exactly. Yeah.
What does he think about the whole pirate thing? Because obviously he's connected with it. Has he said anything?
Well, so this thing has really come about in the last few months, and they've been on tour, and so I haven't been with them in person since November last year. We've talked, we've done some Zoom stuff, but yeah, I'm in more in the post-production phase of the film. I do still have some filming to do. right? Like, oddly enough, I've filmed just about everybody, but I've not had a real good sit down with Michael himself. Just the guy is so busy. I mean, you're probably aware they've got the Christmas album coming out. He did another solo album that's being finished. They're just coming off their South American tour. So trying to get that guy to sit still long enough for me to put a camera in his face and talk about his life has been a challenge. But I mean, they've been great. Like, I was in the studio with them for when we were Kings, which was amazing. I went on the for a bit on the tour with them when they did the acoustic tour, and then on the 40th anniversary tour. And I got to live on the Stryper bus. I had the bunk underneath Michael's bunk. It was it was so cool.
That's
and yeah, and I you know what, I have to say, they say never meet your heroes. And going into this, I had kind of a caution in my head and in my heart, like, just remember, they're people. They're not going to live up to these expectations that I've had on them since I was 16 years old.
Sure.
But I was wrong, man. These guys are exactly who I hoped they would be. All four of them.
Oh man, that's so cool. Right
on.
on.
Oz, Michael, Robert, Perry. If you don't know Perry yet, get to know Perry, man. That guy, salt of the earth. Like, these guys, they are genuine people, and I've been with them. I've been with them when the bus, isn't working right. I've been with them now with in some uncomfortable, unideal situations, and I've yet to see them lose their cool.
That's refreshing to hear. That's cool.
Yeah, it's and the one night when they're setting up for one of the acoustic shows, and the sound just wasn't working, it just wasn't coming together. And Michael is, he's working on it, and I'm filming this whole thing. And then afterwards, off camera, he turns to me and he's like, "Hey, Chris, I'm sorry you had to see that." I'm like, "See what?" He's like, "Yeah, I was I'm sure I was being a bit of a jerk." Like, are you kidding me? Like, he's the nicest jerk ever, then, because I would have been losing my mind. And he was, I thought like, I'm watching this going like, wow, he's really patient. But of course, he himself is inside, feeling something different. But I mean, what he was expressing on the outside didn't bother me at all. He seemed like a really genuine, sweet, caring guy. And he is, right. And his wife, Lisa, and their manager, Dave, like, the whole Stryper crew, Nelson, I have to mention Nelson, their drum tech. Oh man, the whole crew. Like, when I saw they're going on the South American tour, I was trying to find a way to see if there's some way that I could just get on it, because I just wanted to be with them, because you just felt so good. You feel good about yourself. They pray. They do pray before the shows. These guys don't do anything without praying. They are the real deal, and I'm so excited that I get to tell the story. But I have a tremendous fear about being the guy to put this film together, because there's a lot of responsibility in this, and I have to decide. I'm the one deciding what goes in and what doesn't, which is terrifying.
Yeah,
and I'm sure it's going to be a film that people will criticize for ages to come. But I'm working hard to try and make something that really honors their legacy and what God has done in them. And it's a very different look too. It's, typically if you watch, say, the Nickelback documentary on Netflix, it's the band talking about themselves. You watch the Bon Jovi documentary on Hulu Plus, it's the band talking about themselves. And really, there's few outsiders. So I call it like looking from the outside in, right? Yeah, so these are the band talking about their stories, and we're getting to witness that. This is different. This is a very different film, partly because the guys are kind of shy and they don't want to talk about themselves. They actually are very, very humble. And so we're doing an outside in look, and I'm hearing from guys like Michael W. Smith, from Pat Boone. And there's I don't want to give away all the names right now, because we've got some big names that have been influenced by Stryper, both in the secular world and in the Christian world. And when you see some of the people that we're bringing into this film, they're talking about how Stryper influenced them, musically, spiritually, creatively, in so many different ways. The impact. So we're looking from the outside in, from all these outside sources, and then getting to know the band a little bit. So,
is Pastor Bob Eamon? You got him?
Of course.
Oh yeah, you got to have him. Awesome. He's a good friend of mine. Way cool.
I spent a bit of time with Pastor Bob a year ago, and he's great. I want to follow up. I want to go back with him, and I won't again. for people who want to follow along, they can go to stryperdocumentary.com. And there's a way there if you want to share your Stryper story with me, and I would encourage people to do that. Send us a video, record yourself with your phone,
I'm gonna do
and
that.
tell me. Do it, yeah, please do it.
Yeah.
You might make it into the documentary if you send us your testimony, your Stryper story.
Yeah.
But there's another project that when Stryper's complete, that may be happening, and I won't say too much other than it will be a project with a very man, I don't know how much to give away. Very famous person who's helping me with this, and it will be a Christian metal project. So hopefully within the next few months, I can release more details about that.
If you know, don't give it away, Chuck. Yeah. We don't want to get him in trouble.
I'm not. Man, this has been good. This is good.
When
we have another interview coming up, and I don't think we've ever gone this long. This has been great.
When are you thinking the documentary will be out?
Well, so initially I was really hoping to have it ready this fall. We're not going to be ready this fall. So my goal is I really want to have this. I would like to have the Stryper film finished within the first quarter of 2026. That remains to be seen, just because there's a number of things. Not only do I need to finish a few interviews, and we're working on the rough cut right now, but we do actually have interest from some big streamers. And I won't say more than that. Just that, and we're trying to decide what is the best way to release this. I mean, if fans want to give us their thoughts, but do we go to a major streaming platform and make a deal with them? That's attractive, and I think in a sense that honors Stryper's legacy of being both in the Christian world and the mainstream secular world. Or do we do like I've got with my Dying to Live film? Do we just make a website and people can access and buy or rent the film directly that way? That's a thought. Is it a one-off? Is it just one 90-minute episode? I've actually been approached by a couple of companies that distribute films to theaters. We've talked about a theatrical release and going across North America. So there's a lot of interest. It's caught the attention of a lot of people. And if you're praying, pray that God will give us wisdom and guidance of where He wants this released. Because this really, in a sense, the sky's the limit. But and like I said, I feel the burden being one of the decision makers on this and having to decide where this goes and how it gets released. There's a lot of pressure. Like, I'm feeling it. So I'm really praying for God's wisdom and guidance on how to get this out there in the right way. Like I say, is it one 90-minute documentary? Or, I mean, we could easily do 6 1 hours if and still not cover everything.
Sure. Stryper the series.
Yeah. And I would love to do that, man. That would be so cool.
Yeah.
But so for those of you who pray out there, if you're thinking about Stryper, if you're thinking about this project, please pray that God gives us the wisdom and the guidance and understanding to know where to take this. This goes where He wants it, because that's what the band wants. That's what I want. We want this film to be an extension of the ministry and what they have already done over the last 40-something years.
Great,
man.
Well, Chris, we could keep going and going, but we are so thankful for the creativity you have and being able to adapt into different scenarios. Obviously, with what we talked about with Israel, and then obviously with the pirate treasure hunt stuff, and then the Stryper stuff, and many other things you've done. We just want to thank you for what you bring to the world, especially in where it's not cheesy. Me and Chuck talk about this a lot, that Christian stuff can come across so cheesy to where it's off-putting to the non-believer.
Absolutely.
The things that you are doing is done so well, and we're thankful for that. We really are. And so, Chuck, how do we end this? Because this has gone long.
I think we need to still do the big three.
Let's do the big three.
But first of all,
okay.
how can people connect with?
Yeah.
I mean, not just the film. How can they connect with you, Chris?
Okay. Well, thank you for giving me the opportunity to do this. There's a few things, so I'll say them quickly. First of all, RecWatch TV on YouTube. Please check that out, or recwatchmag.com for the magazine. Become a subscriber. I have 2 websites, chrisatkins.ca and that is I'm Canadian, so .ca. And onemedia.ca is my business. So you can check those out. And that's onemedia.ca. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, Chris Atkins Photography on Instagram, or on Facebook, I think it's Chris Atkins Film and Photography. It's my public pages there. And then I have a personal YouTube channel. I think it's just Chris Atkins Canada or something like that. If you search me and gear reviews, and that's where I don't really keep up on that channel. I need to do more. But the goal of that was to do gear reviews, but you can actually see some of my Israel adventures, some behind the scenes stuff, where I go through the Golan Heights with the brother of Eli Cohen, the famous Israeli spy. I actually do a 3-part series with Danny the Digger Herman, a famous archaeologist, where we go looking for the places that the Ark of the Covenant has been. And that's just a teaser. There's
goodness.
I need to go back because there's more stuff that we really need to do. And that's something that I'm going to develop on that YouTube channel. And I'm gearing up to do some stuff in the Holy Land where just for YouTube, we're going to go and we're going to look for stuff that you don't see in any other Christian TV series or documentary or even on History Channel. So watch for that in the coming year. So those are the main ways to see me and to get a hold of me.
You're going to become a regular on Revival Town.
Well, I think you're going to become a regular on my TV because my wife is into everything you do, from the whole Israel stuff to pirate chasing treasure type stuff. And she loves Indiana Jones and that whole world and biblical archaeology. And so, I've just got a feeling now our TV has just turned from one type of.
I'm sorry.
You. So that's all right. I'm going to be seeing a lot of you. So,
yeah. So, I'm just a little kid with a camera living out my dream, It's God has really, really blessed me. I can't believe that I do this. Every time I complain, my wife reminds me, do you realize what people would give to go to these places and do what you're doing? Like, okay, yeah, all right. Yep. No, you're right.
Well, let's do the big 3.
Let's do it.
3 questions.
Okay.
Chuck, do you want to start on this one?
Sure.
Or you want me to?
You can.
Okay.
You go for it, Andy.
Of all the places that you have been, not diving, but just visiting, what is your favorite?
I have to say Israel. And maybe it's just because I spent so much time there. And I have to tell you that, I'm not one of those super spiritual people where when I first went to Israel, I felt feelings or I've had people say, oh, did you feel like you were home? Like, no, I felt like I was in a foreign country where things were very different from home. But I think just I gotta say the food in Israel is just amazing, and the people in Israel get to know those people, and then the fact there's just so much history and so much history connected to our faith. But I'll say that, and this will throw you guys off again. I don't need to keep sidetracking, but I also spent a lot of time in Russia. For 10 years, I was going up into Arctic Russia and Siberia, documenting the reindeer herders, and actually living out on the tundra with the reindeer herders.
What?
Jeez. So maybe that's another show.
Oh my goodness!
Another podcast.
We're bringing you back in winter to talk about that.
All right, Chuck, you're up next.
So, okay, I have mine is part 1 and part 2. I have to ask two questions before Andy gives the third one. And the first one is there one archaeological discovery that fuels your faith more than any other? And 2, what's your favorite Stryper song of all time?
Oh man. Okay. Well, first part, archaeology. So a few years ago, Dr. Elat Mezar, she found what's called the Hezekiah seal. And so, this is Old Testament, this isn't New Testament. This is Hezekiah, and the seal that she found in the Ophel just below the Temple Mount. It's a seal of Hezekiah's signature, basically. It's the king's actual seal. And it says, Hezekiah, son of Ahaz, king of Judea. It says it in Paleo Hebrew with his little symbol. You can check it out. I encourage you to search it out. We've done episodes on First Century Foundations about it. I think you could probably find those if you search First Century Foundations on YouTube and check out those episodes there. But that, to me, that one really, really was so powerful to me to have basically a signature, because what are you going to find from that long ago? But to find his actual seal, it proves this guy was real. These are not just fables. These are real people, real stories with real remnants and physical stuff that they're finding thousands of years later that just prove that prove that. And I could go. I mean, that's one. I could talk about a lot more. And so favorite Stryper song. Oh man, there's so many. I mean, if you go the original years, of course, To Hell with the Devil. That just, I mean, I can't not rock out to that song. But more recent songs like off of their new album Trinity and Betrayed by Love, which if you watch the music video for Betrayed by Love, the parts with Michael, I filmed those. So that was pretty cool. So that's special. And Divider, there's just something about that song Divider. You know, in Middle Finger Messiah, I don't know. There's something about that song that just gets me going. There's so many. You can tell I got a bit of an edge.
Oh my goodness!
Stryper brings up that edge with me sometimes.
Okay, last question. Any place in the world that you want to go and dive that you haven't dived at yet?
Oh man, there's thousands. There's what's the name of that place? Truck Lagoon. Which is an entire Japanese fleet in the South Pacific that was sank right after Pearl Harbor when the Americans first hit them. And these ships, they're like preserved in time. A lot of them sitting upright. And you go, and it's like an underwater museum where you're stepping back in time, and these ships, planes, everything. And like, I think it's just about an entire Japanese fleet right there. That's someplace that I would just love to dive. And you know what? Through Rec Watch, we may or may not, but probably will be doing an underwater series in the Holy Land at some point.
Wow.
That's in the works right now, because there's a lot of stuff in the Mediterranean, in the Red Sea, and there's even kind of an interesting thing in the Sea of Galilee, which is not, the visibility is terrible there. But yeah. So, but for more modern stuff, Truck Lagoon, I really want to go there, and I do want to do more around the Holy Land.
Wow,
man.
Well, Chris,
this has been awesome.
It's been awesome. Thank you so much for coming on to Revival Town. We know that this will not be your first and last. We will see you again for sure, especially perhaps when the Stryper documentary comes out.
Yes, absolutely.
Some of the Pirates. Pirate Kings. So thank you, Chuck. Comes out, you know, we definitely want to try and connect with you. What was the gentleman's name again in the UK that did that with you?
Yep, Dr. Sean Kingsley. And if you go to recwatchmag.com, you can see the magazine that he runs that, and check out the Pirate King book. This is a nonfiction book, but if you like fiction, his first novel, Finders Keepers, is also an excellent read, and has some connections. And I think some of his characters are actually based on some people that he actually has worked with in the past.
Wow. Chuck, we need to get both of them on together.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
Yeah. We can do that. We can make that happen.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Chris, for coming on to Revival Town podcast today. We deeply appreciate it, taking this time, and we look forward for hearing from you again soon.
That sounds great. Thanks so much, guys.
Hey, thank you so much, Chris. This was awesome. Oh, man. He is one of the most interesting people we've ever had on.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the experiences that he's had are remarkable.
Well, and what I love is his heart. His heart for just getting footage, whether it's, you know, obviously the Israel stuff or treasure hunters or Stryper, like just being able to convey a message through the art of filmmaking. It's hard to find.
Yeah. And think about this. He is a Christian because someone gave him a cassette tape of Stryper.
That's crazy. That now he's doing the documentary.
He's doing the documentary. Man.
Oh man. You know what? Talking about documentaries, and you I mentioned this documentary to you, and you said, Jeff has just
Jeff Henderson, who's been on Revival Town, author of 4.
Just last week, me and my wife watched the Billy Joel documentary. Now, when we went into it, I mean, we like a couple of Billy Joel stuff. It's not like, we listen to him all the time. So we turned it on and never realized it was a 2-part documentary, but each part was 2.5 hours. So it was a 5-hour documentary, and it grabbed me. Like, I watched, it was like it went so quick.
Right. I know you ordered the pajamas. I was like, that's kind of weird, but no.
But you know what intrigued me the most? It's a very cool story of him starting in New York, went to LA, really didn't make it in LA and came back. His wife was his manager, right? And was one of the best managers in the world. She really looked after him. They split, and she carried on managing and came to a point where she needed to step down. But she said, why don't you have my brother, who had been on the journey, he'd been part of the management for years, why don't you have my brother do the management? So he's like, yeah, I trust him, let's do it. Come to find out years later, this guy had been ripping him off all these years.
Oh my gosh.
To the fee of $90 million.
That's crazy.
Buying land, buying houses, flying first class everywhere. Like Billy didn't, when you're in the midst of something like that, you're not looking at that stuff. You're trusting that manager, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So Billy, this is what was amazing, and then we'll end it. But he lost everything. Like, he had hardly any money. And we're talking like past the 80s, where he had been making loads of money, 90 million out. And so he said, we're going to have to just start again. So he starts hitting the road. They do albums. They do a bunch of big hits come out. But then, and this is what was amazing, Madison Square Garden, right? So he lives in Long Island. Madison Square Garden. He decided to do a residency at Madison Square Garden. So instead of going to Vegas, where you're there 3 times, like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you take the week off, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. He did that at Madison Square Garden, right? For 100 shows. So over a period of a few years, he did a residency, 100 shows.
At Madison Square Garden.
Every show sold out.
Wow.
Every show. No one in history has ever done that. And this is after he'd got divorced, he'd married Christy Brinkley, like all this stuff. And he made his way back to where now he's earned way more than that.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Remarkable. Yeah. Don't quit.
Don't quit. And, obviously with Chris on today, he was talking about the Stryper documentary, which is going to be really cool. So make sure you're checking that out, everyone, because it's going to be good, don't you think?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Man,
but you know what's next, don't you?
Yes, it is time.
Because we haven't done it in a few weeks.
No, it's been a minute.
I know. It's
London's Calling.
London's Calling. Here we go. It's London's Calling.
Tate is May.
Tate is May. Explain what it is.
This is the part of the show where Andy, who is from England, throws out a word to me that is English, rhyming Cockney slang, something that is familiar there, not here, and I have to guess what the meaning is.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm Tate, he's Mate.
So you got to try and guess what I'm saying, okay?
Yeah.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, all right. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Oh, I can see you ready. Oh, Billy Joel. Billy Joel, right?
Yeah.
Was famous. And is famous for Life with a Joanna.
Billy Joel was famous for Life with a Joanna?
Joanna.
The Joanna. So I'm going to guess that's rhyming Cockney slang. But what in the heck rhymes with Joanna that is connected to Billy Joel? And I'm going to say banana. No, I have no idea.
Are you ready?
Yep.
Billy Joel's famous for a piano.
Oh, brother, how did I miss that?
Playing the piano. He's the piano man.
Okay, yeah. He's
Piano
piano
man.
man. So, Joanna, yeah, okay.
See?
All right,
Yeah, I got you there.
See, all right.
Okay, got you there. All right.
I think that might be the first one. Is that the first one?
It's been in a while, I tell you. I'm digging for them, but there we go. We got it. So, well, thank you so much for listening to Revival Town or watching. We get a lot, obviously, the camera there. A lot of people watch us, and make sure you're telling people, especially about these last 2 episodes.
Oh man, so good.
It's been so
Chris.
good. Yeah. So check us out on Facebook. Make sure you're sharing the YouTube link on Facebook. That always gets people looking.
Yep.
And we will see you next week.
Next week.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Revival Town Podcast. Make sure you're following us on social media and remember to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. For more information, head on over to revivaltownpodcast.com.